age 52. Net worth, $450 million. The coffee is $3.50. You sit in the corner booth of a coffee shop on a street in Columbus, Ohio, and the barista calls you sir when she hands you the cup and forgets your face by the time you sit down. You are wearing the jacket you bought in 2017. You are wearing the watch your father gave you when you graduated, which is a Timex, which still keeps time, which has never been serviced. Your car is in the parking lot. The car is a Honda. The car is 14 years old. The car starts every time. You are worth $450 million. Across the street is a strip mall with a tax preparer, a PHO place, and a vape shop. You own it. You bought it from an estate in 2012. The tenants pay rent into a property management company in Dublin that pays a CPA in Toledo, who forwards what's left to a holding company you set up the year you bought your first laundromat. The tax preparer has been there 19 years and has never met you. 2 blocks east, past the bus stop, a self-storage facility you bought in 2014. Across the river, an industrial park with 7 warehouses leased to companies you have never had a meeting with. You can see 2 of your buildings from this booth. There are 61 more across 9 cities you have not visited in 5 years. The woman at the table next to yours is a real estate agent on a call. In 6 minutes, she has mentioned a listing in Bexley, a closing on Friday, and a client she calls Tom, who is being difficult. She has glanced at you twice and registered nothing both times. You are a feature of the booth, the same way the framed photo of the owner's daughter behind the espresso machine is a feature of the wall. The phone in your pocket has 6 unread messages. One is from the woman who runs the cleaning company about a hospital RFP in Indianapolis. One is the property manager in Kansas City asking permission to repave a lot. One is the daily report from the ATM network, 2 pages of numbers you read in 3 seconds, looking only at the column that tells you if anything is broken. The others can wait. The others can always wait. This is what $450 million looks like in a coffee shop on a Tuesday morning in a small city in the middle of a country that does not know you exist. It looks like nothing. That's the point. The point is so old that you can no longer remember a version of yourself who would have wanted it any other way. 25 years ago, there was a folder on a desk in an office 2 miles from this booth. The folder was the beginning. Age 27. Net worth, negative $9,000. The order is on your boss's desk and the folder has been sitting there for 2 weeks. You see it every time you walk past on the way to the printer. $11,000 for 250 hooded sweatshirts with the company logo on the chest from a vendor in Cleveland that nobody at your office can name. You look at the invoice one morning while standing at the printer waiting for a stack of expense reports to come off. 11,000 divided by 250 is $44 a piece. You have worn one of the sweatshirts. They feel like a kitchen towel. You look up the vendor that night from a couch in a studio apartment over a dry cleaner with the noodles you made cooling on the coffee table. Their website is 1 page. They have 3 employees. They buy the blanks from a wholesaler in South Carolina for $4.70. They press the logo for under $1. They sell the sweatshirt to your boss for $44. Margin is something like 90%. The thing that has been on your boss's desk for 2 weeks, nobody questioning it, is a piece of paper making a man in Cleveland $40 a piece, 250 times. You don't have a printer. You don't have a wholesale account. You don't have a Shopify store. By the weekend, you have all 3. You spend Saturday and Sunday emailing 12 small businesses from a Chamber of Commerce directory. You quote them $38 a sweatshirt instead of $44. You promise a faster turnaround. By Monday, 2 of them have written back. By the end of the month, one has paid you $1,800 for a 50-piece order that you have the wholesaler ship and a print shop in Akron dropship for you. And the difference between what they paid and what it cost you is $600. And that $600 goes into a coffee can on top of the fridge that nobody else has touched. You don't tell anyone. Not the woman you were seeing, not the friends you came up with, not your boss. That's the part you'll learn to keep, the not telling. The thing you noticed before anybody else noticed. The asset that nobody is fighting you for, because nobody has even seen it. In the morning, the folder is still on the desk. You walk past it on the way to the printer. The guard at the lobby desk nods at you without looking up. He has been nodding at you for 14 months and could not pick you out of a room of 2. That's the silence. That's the thing you're going to spend the next 25 years building on top of. Age 29. Net worth, $40,000. You buy a heat press for $1,400 from a man in Akron who pulls it out of the back of his garage and tells you, without looking up, that the trouble with the business is that nobody respects the work. So nobody does the work. So the work is yours if you want it. You want it. You put the press in the bedroom of the studio apartment where the bed used to be, and you move the bed into the living room. You stop having people over. You order 4 boxes of blanks from a wholesaler in South Carolina that ships to a UPS store you pay $9 a month to forward to your apartment. You email 300 small businesses in the second half of the year. 28 of them buy something. The orders are small. 50 pieces. 100 pieces. The kind of order the company in Cleveland did not bother to respond to because they were not big enough to chase. You chase them. You quote them inside of an hour. You ship them faster than anyone else. By the end of the year, you have a spreadsheet with 74 names of small businesses that have bought from you at least once, and 41 that have bought from you twice. You wake up at 5. You ship orders before the office job starts at 9. You wear 2 shirts in the car, the polo with no logo, and the button-down folded on the passenger seat, and you change in the parking garage. You smell like vinyl and lint by Friday, but by Friday you have $800 in the coffee can on top of the fridge that nobody else has touched. You do not buy a watch. You do not move apartments. You do not tell the woman you are seeing. When she asks why you're tired, you say work, and she takes it to mean the office, and you let her. The Friday you cross 40,000 in the can and the bank combined, you sit on the floor of the apartment between the heat press and the unprinted blanks, and you laugh, once, alone, with your hand over your mouth. Then you stand up and you make a peanut butter sandwich and you eat it standing at the counter. The guard at the desk still does not look up when you walk past in the morning. You like him for it. Age 32. Net worth, $400,000. The laundromat is on Sullivan Avenue, and the owner is a man in his 60s who has been counting quarters into rolls every Thursday for 31 years. You find it in the back of the local paper, where business listings appear in 8-point type next to estate auctions. Asking $310K. Seller financing possible. The man calls back 2 days after you leave a message. He sounds tired. His wife is sick. He wants out before Christmas. He does not ask what you do for a living. You meet him on a Tuesday at 4. There are 9 people inside. The smell is fabric softener and the kind of dust that builds up in a building where the floor has been mopped 6,000 times. He shows you the meter on the water heater and a ledger book with 31 years of weekly cash deposits written in pencil. You read 3 pages and you understand the business before you finish the second. You offer $280. He counters 3. You agree at $290. He shakes your hand without standing up. You put down $90,000 from the coffee can and you carry the rest on his paper. No bank involved. The deal closes at his kitchen table. The wife brings cookies. You eat one. You tell her she is going to feel better. You quit the office job 2 weeks later. The HR woman is surprised. You do not tell her why. On the first morning at the laundromat, the man at the door, who has been a customer for 19 years and who has been told nothing, asks you when the new place is opening. You tell him the place is not new. He nods. He puts his coins in the machine. He does not know your name. He will not learn it. He will tell his wife on the way home that the new guy at the laundromat seems okay. The way a person says something they have already stopped thinking about by the time the sentence ends. You count the quarters yourself every Thursday for the next 4 years, in the back office, in pencil, in the same book. Age 35. Net worth, $2 million. The storage facility is in a town outside Indianapolis, and you find it because a divorce attorney calls a property manager who calls a man you met once at a county auction. The husband wants the house. The wife wants the cabin. Neither wants the storage. It is sitting on the term sheet between them like a small unwanted dog. The attorney says he can move it for 1.1 if there is cash on the table by month's end. You drive up on a Saturday. 220 units, chain link fence, portable trailer for an office, window AC that has been there since the Bush administration. The manager is a woman named Linda, who has worked here for 19 years. She looks up when you walk in and asks if you need a unit. You tell her you do not. She asks what you need. You tell her you are looking at the property. She looks at you for a long time. She does not say anything. She goes back to her paperwork. You buy the facility for $980 after a week of paper. The day the deal closes, you hand Linda a check for a quarterly bonus that has nothing to do with the previous owner, because the previous owner did not give quarterly bonuses. You tell her you would like her to keep doing exactly what she has been doing. She takes the check without looking at the number and says she will think about it. She does not quit. She does not ask about the new owner. 6 months later, there are new curtains in the trailer and a coffee maker that was not there before. She makes you a cup. She does not call you boss. She calls you, when she addresses you at all, by your first name, and only on the phone, because in person, she is busy. You drive home with a folder on the passenger seat that contains a list of 3 other facilities in 3 other towns that you have been quietly looking at for 4 months. You buy the parking lot from an estate. The estate is the estate of a man named Walter, who owned 3 parcels of undeveloped land in downtown Columbus, and who died at 84 with 2 children in California, who would like the matter handled cleanly. The probate lawyer is a friend of Linda's. You meet at a coffee shop 2 blocks from the booth you sit in now, except this is 14 years before now, and the coffee is $2.75. The lawyer slides you a folder. Inside is a surface parking lot that has been a parking lot for 41 years, run by a man named Reggie who lives in a trailer on the property. Reggie collects the cash. Reggie pays the taxes. Reggie keeps what is left, which is enough to live on, and has been enough to live on since the Carter administration. You buy the lot for $4.6 million. The children get their share. Reggie does not know anything has changed for 9 days until you walk up to the trailer with a thermos of coffee and you sit at his folding table outside and you tell him who you are. He listens. He asks 2 questions. Can he keep living on the lot? Are you going to put up a building? You tell him yes and no. Not yet. Not for at least a decade. He nods. He pours you a refill from his own thermos. The coffee tastes like burned grounds and tap water. You drink it anyway. He runs the lot for the next 9 years. You see him twice a year. He does not raise the rates. You do not raise the rates. The rates are what they were in 1991. The lot clears $620,000 a year because Columbus has grown around it. In public, when an old customer asks who the lot belongs to now, Reggie says the lot belongs to a man named Walter, who is not around very much. The customer nods. The customer pays. The customer drives away. You buy the ATM network from a man in Florida. You buy the ATM network from a man in Florida who has 800 machines across 4 states and who is dying and who wants the business out of his name before his daughter has to deal with it. You do not meet him in person. You meet him on a video call. He is sitting in a recliner in front of a window with palm fronds on the other side of it. He is wearing a polo shirt and an oxygen tube. He runs you through the books in 41 minutes, and at the end of the call, he asks you to promise him 3 things. The first is that you will not raise the surcharge for at least 4 years, because the bar owners are people he has done handshake deals with for 30 years. The second is that you will keep Mrs. Halloran, who answers the dispatch phone, employed at the same salary with the same benefits until she chooses to retire. The third is that you will not change the name of the company until he is dead, which he expects will be within the year. You agree to all 3. He shakes your hand through the camera. You buy the network for $19 million. He is dead in 7 months. You go to the funeral. You drive down from Columbus in the Honda. You sit in the back of the church. His daughter does not know who you are. The other people in the pews do not know who you are. Mrs. Halloran sees you across the aisle and her face changes for 1 second and then returns to what it was. And she nods at you, almost imperceptibly, the way a person nods who is keeping a secret she's been asked to keep. After the service, you stand in the parking lot of the church. Across the street is a Pizza Hut. Behind the Pizza Hut, you know without checking, is one of your machines in the back hallway by the bathrooms, and it has cleared $2,041 this month. You drive home in the Honda. You stop for gas. You buy a coffee. You do not tip the kid at the register because the kid does not know to expect a tip. And tipping him would make him look at you, and you do not need to be looked at. The cleaning company is the largest thing you have ever bought, and you buy it without sitting in the building where the work is performed. The seller is a private equity firm winding down a fund. The company is one of 17 things they need to move before the calendar year ends. 2,400 employees, mostly part-time, mostly women, mostly working between 10 at night and 6 in the morning, inside hospitals and office buildings and university campuses across 6 states. The price is $140 million. You read the books, you read the labor contracts, you read the OSHA filings. You spend 9 days with 3 lawyers in a conference room in Cleveland. You sign on a Friday at 4. You drive home in the Honda. On Monday morning at 5:30, you stand in the lobby of a hospital in Cincinnati. The lobby is empty except for the cleaning crew finishing the night shift. 7 people in matching blue polos. They do not look at you. You are wearing the jacket from 2017. They are not paid to look at you. The supervisor is a woman named Maria, who has worked for the company for 16 years. She does not know you have bought the company. She will not know for another 6 weeks, and even then she will not learn your name, because the ownership is a holding company whose paperwork is signed by a man in Dublin, Ohio, who has signed thousands of similar documents on your behalf. You watch a woman buff the floor. She is older than your mother. She has been doing this for 19 years. She earns $16.40 an hour. You make a note on a piece of paper in your jacket pocket of 3 things you would like to change about her pay and her benefits and her schedule. You fold the paper. You put it back in your pocket. You walk out. You drive home in silence. You think about the woman with the buffer for the entire drive, and by the time you reach Columbus, you have decided 3 things. And the 3 things take effect on the 1st of the following month, and the buffer woman does not know that anything has happened, and the buffer woman never will. You are back in the booth. The coffee is still $3.50. The phone in your pocket has 8 unread messages now instead of 6. The 2 new ones are from a man in Phoenix you do not know who has been put in touch with you by a woman you have met twice, and the messages are about a portfolio of self-service car washes that the man would like to sell quietly before the end of the quarter, before anybody else is told. You read the messages. You do not reply yet. You watch the steam come off the coffee. You think about the buffer woman in the hospital lobby. You think about Linda at the storage facility. You think about Reggie at the parking lot, who died 2 years ago, and who left a 1-page handwritten note in the trailer addressed to you, asking you to keep the rates the same for as long as you own the lot. You have. You will. You think about your daughter, who is 23, and who has just taken a job at a nonprofit in Denver, and who does not know that the bank account you set up for her on her 18th birthday has more in it than she will earn in the next 40 years of her career. You would like to keep her not knowing for at least another decade. The longer she does not know, the longer she will be the person you raised her to be. You think about your friend Mike, who you have known since you were 16 and who you had lunch with 3 weeks ago, and who told you over a plate of nachos that he is scared about retirement. You listened. You nodded. You did not tell him that you could solve his retirement on the way home with a phone call and a wire and a note. You did not tell him because telling him would change what the friendship is, and the friendship is the last room in the building that nobody else can come into. You think briefly about telling him. You do not. You stand up. You leave a $5 bill on the table. By the time the barista comes back to the booth, you will be in the Honda. And the Honda will have started, the way it always starts, and there will be nothing on you, anywhere, for anyone's eyes to catch on. You drive home. 25 years ago, there was a folder on a desk. Today, there is a booth and a coffee and a phone with 8 unread messages and a life nobody can see. You wanted it this way. You still do.